A man in a blue suit plummets from a cliff, a horde of monsters swarming right behind him. He is not alone, carrying a shocked blonde woman who thinks his plan is absolutely insane. With incredible speed, he flips them both mid-air, positioning himself beneath her. A confident grin flashes across his face as he braces for the brutal impact. They crash into the ground, unleashing a massive shockwave that shatters the earth. He takes the full force of the landing, acting as a human shield to protect his companion. The impact's force instantly neutralizes the entire mob of pursuing monsters. Still in his arms, the woman looks around in disbelief, questioning how she's even alive. He sets her down, clutching his side in pain as a shadowy object falls from his grasp. Brushing it off as a close call, he calmly walks away, leaving her in the crater he created. The woman stares after him, completely speechless at the impossible feat she just witnessed. She glances back at the towering cliff, still struggling to comprehend how they survived the fall. Finding refuge in a nearby cave, they're met with more monstrous screeches from the darkness. Inside, he rests against a wall, clearly irritated by the incessant cries of the creatures outside. Composing herself, she addresses the mysterious man, demanding to know his next move. He reveals a surprisingly simple plan: defeat for more monsters to level up, and then go back for more. His reckless strategy earns him an exasperated sigh, as she clearly doubts his logic. She tries to explain that leveling up isn't a direct power boost, but he claims it's different for him. Her confusion deepens, not understanding how his case could be an exception to the rule. With a chilling grin, he explains that for him, removing his limits is the ultimate power-up. His chilling words sink in, leaving her to ponder the true nature of his power. The story cuts away to emergency vehicles speeding through the night, sirens blaring. They arrive at the dungeon entrance, now a chaotic scene swarming with media and officials. A reporter broadcasts live, revealing a scandalous incident occurred at this very dungeon days prior. The broadcast shows a man breaking down in front of the press, calling out the hero's name in despair. The news reveals the captured suspect initially lied, but later confessed to his crime after an investigation. As he's escorted through a media storm, reporters hound him for answers about the hero's last words. The suspect internally seethes, regretting his actions now that he knows his victim's powerful affiliation. Meanwhile, a man in an office watches the news speculate on whether the hero, a rumored returnee, can possibly survive. His thoughts are interrupted as a woman bursts into the office, urgently addressing him as chief. She storms in, angrily demanding an explanation for his apparent inaction. With a furious expression, she insists they need to apprehend everyone responsible for the crime. The chief reveals they've already acted, but the main gang leader is now a wanted fugitive. She counters that this is just a smokescreen, as one manager taking the fall for a level 5 dungeon incident isn't sufficient. He questions the wisdom of dismantling a whole guild, asking if it would truly solve anything. His dismissive tone regarding the severity of the situation leaves her absolutely livid. The chief then raises doubts about the hero's true origin, questioning if he's as powerful as rumored. Completely exasperated by his logic, she shouts his title in sheer frustration. While a news report calls for stricter guild management, the chief quietly expresses his annoyance. He reveals his cynical plan to use the public outcry to launch profitable inspections of the guilds. Overcome with guilt, she confesses that she was the one who sent the hero into the dungeon. The chief remains silent, his expression unreadable as he listens to her breakdown. He feigns concern, suggesting they can only wait, even as news reports declare the mission a likely failure. Devastated by the grim reality, she collapses to the floor in utter despair. Tears stream down her face as she grieves for the man she sent to his apparent doom. The scene shifts back to the eerie forest within the dungeon's depths. Suddenly, a hulking, axe-wielding monster emerges from the misty undergrowth. The creature's attention is abruptly caught by a faint, fluttering sound nearby. A tiny, glowing fairy appears in a brilliant flash of light, looking slightly panicked. The massive monster stares in confusion at the small, magical being hovering before it. The monster snatches the glowing fairy right out of the air. It lets out a furious roar, realizing it's been tricked. The beast swings its weapon wildly, trying to hit the elusive light now zipping around it. The glowing orb easily evades the clumsy attack, leading the monster on a chase. With a final zip, the light disappears into the nearby foliage, its mission complete. The hulking creature stands baffled, wondering where its tiny target went. Its attention is suddenly caught by a pair of leaves sliced clean from a tree above. Before it can react, a figure plummets from the treetops with blinding speed. The hero delivers a devastating strike to the monster's head, earning a reward of performance points. He crashes down with immense force, completely overwhelming the creature in a single decisive move. He grins through the blood, now only 3 monsters away from his goal. The eerie sounds of unseen creatures fill the forest as they move stealthily through the undergrowth. Hiding in the bushes, the woman activates her glowing eye, using a skill to gain insight into their surroundings. Her ability reveals the heat signature of a lone figure moving through the misty woods. She pinpoints their next target, an orc warrior lurking just a short distance away. Without a word, the hero instantly launches himself into the air, leaving her behind in a flash. She tries to call him back, realizing he's acting far too recklessly. He soars towards the unsuspecting orc, knife raised for a surprise attack from above. The orc warrior suddenly turns, sensing an approaching threat at the last second. The woman screams in alarm, realizing he's just jumped headfirst into a trap. Instead of landing a blow, the hero's foot slams down directly onto a hidden spike trap. The ground erupts with explosive force, violently launching him into the air. He tumbles helplessly, his sword knocked from his grip as he crashes back to the ground. His companion watches in sheer horror, realizing the devastating consequences of his recklessness. The orc warrior triumphantly blows a horn, signaling its comrades that the prey is caught. In the distance, other orcs hear the call to arms and immediately respond. A particularly menacing orc with glowing eyes narrows its gaze, ready for the hunt. From the surrounding bushes, a monstrous hand suddenly bursts through the leaves. Another orc warrior crawls out from its hiding spot, axe in hand and ready for battle. The hero finds himself completely surrounded as an entire horde of orcs emerges from the forest. His companion desperately screams for him to get back on his feet. The hero's eyes snap open with renewed focus, despite his weakened state. With a furious roar, the orc horde charges forward, led by their glowing-eyed commander. The ground trembles as the overwhelming number of monsters stampedes towards the lone, injured hero. He staggers upright, confused and disoriented from the explosion and the trap's effects. A wave of dizziness washes over him, his body feeling paralyzed and his senses failing. The relentless orcs howl as they close the distance, ready to overwhelm their cornered prey. His partner reveals the critical reason for his condition. He hasn't eaten in 2 days. Thinking fast, she throws several defense bombs, which detonate in a massive chain reaction. A blinding flash of light engulfs the charging orcs, momentarily stopping their assault. The powerful explosion sends the front line of orcs flying in every direction. His companion is caught in the shockwave, crashing painfully to the ground. He uses the chaos to make a break for it, leaving her to recover on her own. Enraged, the surviving orcs regroup in the smoke, their growls echoing through the forest. The hero wastes no time, snatching his fallen sword from the scorched earth. He immediately turns the tables, cutting down 2 of the pursuing monsters in a swift counterattack. With renewed vigor, he sprints forward, closing the distance to his next target. A blood-splattered grin spreads across his face, with only 1 monster left to defeat. He leaps into the air for the final blow, anticipating the level up that awaits him. His focus is absolute, knowing this last kill is all that stands between him and his goal. He soars through the air, axe raised high, ready to claim his level up. But a massive spike club swings out of nowhere to meet his charge. The orc commander intercepts his attack with a bone-shattering block. The sheer force of the blow sends both the hero and his target flying. His partner can only watch in disbelief as his final attack is thwarted. The glowing-eyed commander bellows in rage, radiating immense power. She glares with frustration, angered by the formidable orc leader. Undeterred, the hero uses the other orc's body as a stepping stone for another strike. He slams his foe into the ground, using the impact to regain his footing. In the chaos of the landing, his axe is sent spinning from his grasp. The dislodged axe hurtles through the air, spinning towards an unseen target. It finds its mark, finishing the last orc and triggering his long-awaited level up. A system notification floods his vision, offering to unlock a beast transformation skill. He stares in disbelief, shocked by the unexpected and powerful new ability. Meanwhile, the orc commander stomps menacingly towards his fallen partner. She struggles against her injuries, realizing she's too weak to even stand properly. Despite her condition, she rises to meet the monster's charge, her sword crackling with power. The scene abruptly cuts to a city building at night, where someone calls out for a dog named Beku. An elderly woman appears with a bowl of food, calling for her pet to come eat. A small white puppy excitedly runs towards the sound of its name, barking happily. The woman sadly notes that while the puppy's owner has been missing for 2 days, the little one seems fine. The small white puppy, Beku, eagerly runs towards its food bowl, full of energy. Back in the other world, his partner desperately blocks a powerful blow from the orc commander. With a look of grim determination, the hero decides to activate his new beast transformation skill. At that exact moment, Beku begins to float in the air, crackling with an unnatural energy. The elderly woman stares in shock as the puppy is enveloped in a bright blue aura. Her face twists in confusion and fear, unable to process what she has seen. In the game, the hero is racked with pain as a dark, shadowy power burst from his body. The orc commander's immense strength sends his partner flying backward, disarmed and vulnerable. The hero's form is consumed by a hissing, black mist as the transformation takes hold. She screams in agony as the force of the blow sends her flying. The orc commander stands firm, his weapon still resonating from the powerful impact. From within the swirling shadows, a monstrous, clawed hand emerges. His human form violently tears apart, reshaping into something bestial. Menacing, clawed feet slam onto the ground, accompanied by a low growl. The commander takes advantage of the chaos, delivering another crushing blow to his partner. Her sword is sent flying, clattering uselessly on the rocky ground. He lunges forward, moving in to finish off his helpless opponent. A massive, clawed foot stomps down, cracking the earth with raw power. The transformation is complete, revealing a ferocious beast with glowing eyes, ready for battle. The orc commander's glowing eye widens, sensing the new, overwhelming threat. Before the commander can react, the transformed hero blitzes forward in a flash of white fur. The monster's eye reflects the terrifying speed of the approaching beast. He intercepts the orc commander's lunge with a devastating kick, planting him firmly into the ground. His partner stares in disbelief, struggling to comprehend his new, monstrous form. The beast follows up, smashing the commander into the earth with enough force to knock his partner off balance. He raises a powerful armored fist, preparing to unleash a merciless beatdown. A brutal flurry of punches rains down upon the helpless orc leader. The werewolf becomes a blur of savage fury, relentlessly pummeling his opponent into the dirt. The assault culminates in a single, bone-shattering punch that deforms the commander's face. His partner's eyes widen in horror, unable to look away from the brutal display. The beast lets out a victorious roar, its maw wide with primal fury. In a final, savage act, he sinks his teeth into the defeated orc commander. A shadow falls over her face as she processes the gruesome sounds of the kill. He rips his head back, ending the commander and earning a notification for performance points. She can only stare, completely stunned by the ferocity he just unleashed. The beast turns its bloodied head, its attention now shifting towards her. She remains silent, at a complete loss for words as the monster observes her. A close-up on its eye reveals a cold, predatory intelligence looking right at her. With a trembling voice, she calls out his name, hoping to reach the man within the monster. Instead of a monstrous roar, the beast responds to her call by barking like a dog. His partner stares back, utterly baffled by the unexpected sounds coming from his new form. She cautiously asks if he's a dog, and the beast seems to confirm it with another bark. The scene shifts to a news report, revealing 3 days have passed with no word from the hunters. A reporter interviews the chief of the RCD, asking for details about the dangerous dungeon. The chief explains they're inside the orc castle, a high-level dungeon far too difficult for just 2 people. Behind the scenes, a cameraman reveals the government is exploiting the situation for political gain. The reporter and cameraman discuss the potential news story, wondering if the hunters will make it out alive. The cameraman scoffs, pointing out the hero's low rank and making a grim prediction for the headlines. He smirks, confident the news will soon announce the tragic loss of Korea's rising star. Back in the real world, the puppy's food bowl crackles with a strange, blue energy. The little dog floats midair, barking cheerfully as the woman watches in disbelief. She stares in utter confusion, unable to comprehend the bizarre spectacle. Meanwhile, in the dungeon, his partner's eyes are wide with lingering shock from the battle. The hero, now human again, explains his new power is channeling his tame pet, not a true transformation. He glances back at her, puzzled by her stunned silence. Turning to face her, he suggests they scavenge for supplies and food. Her face darkens as she grimly questions the purpose of their efforts. He looks at her, completely baffled by her sudden despair. With chilling certainty, she declares that the dungeon is destined to be their final resting place. He turns away from her, baffled by her sudden despair in the desolate landscape. The sky above them begins to rumble, signaling an ominous change in the atmosphere. She points out a chilling fact. Despite the chieftain's defeat, the dungeon's exit remains sealed. As rain begins to pour, she anxiously asks him to explain this terrifying development. A flash of lightning illuminates his determined face as he pieces together the grim puzzle. The downpour intensifies, mirroring the growing dread of their inescapable situation. He gestures to the fallen commander, realizing they've only defeated a subordinate, not the true boss. She confirms his fear, warning him that a much more powerful entity awaits them. He smirks with surprising confidence, questioning just how bad the real boss could possibly be. Her expression turns to one of pure terror as she begins to describe the true horror of the dungeon. She begins to recount a terrifying memory, flashing back to a previous dungeon raid. 3 years prior, she joined a level 5 quest with 19 RCD hunters. 10 of whom were rank elites. A younger, less experienced version of herself stood among the determined raid party. A concerned male teammate glances back, noticing she had fallen slightly behind. She looks up, surprised by his sudden attention and worried expression. He asks about her ankle, showing concern after she seemingly stumbled. She quickly dismisses his worry with a bright, reassuring smile, claiming she's fine. He offers a gentle smile in return, relieved that she appears to be uninjured. A cynical teammate observes their interaction, rolling her eyes at the lovebirds. Their moment is cut short as a massive horde of orcs charges directly at the hunting party. The raid leader commands his team to charge forward, maintaining their formation against the overwhelming odds. A hunter responds instantly, unleashing a powerful blast to defend her flank from the charging monsters. With the battle raging, the leader desperately tries to coordinate his team's failing defenses. One of the hunters is brutally struck down, his call for backup lost in the chaos of the fight. The cynical hunter breaks formation, charging recklessly into the fray against her team's warnings. Her reckless dash ends abruptly as she stumbles and crashes to the ground, vulnerable to the approaching enemy. The orcs let out a furious roar, seizing the opportunity to swarm the fallen hunter. Paralyzed with fear, she can only watch as the monstrous horde thunders towards her. Just as the orcs are about to strike, a figure skids to a halt, planting himself between her and certain doom. The concerned teammate unleashes a brilliant flash of energy, creating a protective barrier around them. The barrier erupts in a powerful blast of energy, throwing the charging orcs aside. The cynical hunter stares in utter shock, stunned by his selfless act of rescue. He shouts for her to move, creating an opening for them to escape the chaos. Another powerful explosion clears a path through the monstrous horde. The raid leader urgently commands the two hunters to fall back to a new position. They regroup momentarily, but another wave of orcs is already closing in on them. She looks at her rescuer with concern, sensing that something is terribly wrong with him. He suddenly grabs her hand and pulls her into a desperate sprint, ignoring her protest. A chill runs down her spine as she senses a far more sinister presence lurking nearby. He drags her up a long flight of stairs, her injured ankle slowing their escape from the pursuing monsters. From a high tower, a lone figure targets a terrifying, three-eyed orc chieftain below. A blindingly fast, fiery attack streaks through the air toward its target. The attack curves with immense power, a blur of destructive energy. An arm is severed in a flash, its hand still desperately clutching a sword. The cynical hunter is sent flying, crashing violently onto the dusty ground. She skids to a halt, crying out as she struggles to push herself up. A colossal blade smashes into the earth just inches from her face, a terrifyingly close call. She watches helplessly as another RCD hunter falls victim to the relentless assault. The raid leader's face contorts with shock and despair as his team is systematically dismantled. The orc chieftain lets out a victorious roar, standing over the body of yet another defeated hunter. Her eyes fill with tears as she utters the name of her fallen comrade from that day. She recalls her past self's grief, realizing a person's life was worth more than any sword. The memory shifts to a dojo, where a younger her once knelt in despair over a broken practice sword. Her teammate, Taehan, had watched over her then with a gentle, encouraging smile. Snapping back to the present, the downpour intensifies as she stares at her current partner. Overwhelmed by the traumatic memory, she covers her face to hide her sorrow. She struggles to compose herself, the weight of the past crashing down on her. He pulls her into a sudden, comforting embrace, sensing her immense distress. He gently holds her head, offering a moment of solace in the pouring rain. His expression is filled with empathy as he apologizes for making her relive such a painful past. The situation escalates into a public spectacle, with the man's tearful performance broadcast live. Online viewers are skeptical, debating the hunter's fate and the difficulty of their quest. Elsewhere, a woman named Suyong collapses in distress, overwhelmed by the news. A national news report shows a shaman conducting a solemn ritual for the missing party's safe return. In response to the crisis, elite hunters from various guilds arrive, ready for a revenge mission. A powerful guild leader watches the gathering, privately blaming the government for the disaster. The scene cuts to the same guild leader being embraced by a woman in a private setting. She looks over his shoulder, inquiring about the news broadcast they are watching. On the screen, a passionate crowd cheers, showing their support for the assembled hunters. The guild leader and his companion watch the unfolding events together, their private moment contrasting with the public outcry. As the rain pours down, the two hunters find shelter inside a dimly lit cave. He reveals a surprisingly lavish spread of food, from pizza to sandwiches. She watches him eat with an enormous appetite, realizing he's quite the foodie. Holding a burger, she wonders if she might have ordered a bit too much for herself. After finishing her meal, she taps the remaining food, declaring she's completely full. He, on the other hand, is still eating, casually revealing he's on his 22nd burger. A genuine smile crosses her face as she sincerely thanks him for his care. Their small campfire illuminates the cave entrance, a beacon of safety in the dark woods. He then asks the critical question, if she managed to kill the orc lord with her powerful sword. She looks down with regret, admitting that she fainted on the spot right after her attack. She recalls waking up in a hospital, where a woman delivered their fallen comrade's sword. The narrative explains the terrifying power of an orc lord, a monster far beyond any chieftain. He realizes an orc lord must be nearby and presses her for its location. She confirms the creature is likely in its castle, but is not within their immediate range. She details the typical layout of an orc fortress with the lord in a central spire. A tiny, winged fairy suddenly materializes from a sphere of light next to his head. The magical creature seems to communicate with him before darting away into the cave. He smiles confidently, announcing that his fairy has successfully located the orc castle. She looks up in surprise at how quickly he found their target, and he confirms it. With a determined expression, he declares it's time for them to make their move. Surrounded by glowing motes of light, she skeptically asks if he has a plan. He turns with a steely gaze, revealing his brutally simple strategy is to find and kill their target. She face-bombs in exasperation, frustrated by his bluntness, but admitting she has no better ideas. Meanwhile, deep within the orc fortress, a heavy gate begins to unlock with a loud clunk. The castle's massive drawbridge creaks as it is slowly lowered by heavy chains. It slams down with a deafening crash, creating a path out of the stone stronghold. The ground rumbles ominously as a massive force prepares to exit from the dark gateway. A horde of orcs riding monstrous wolves charges out, letting loose a furious battle cry. An aerial view reveals the colossal scale of the orc castle as its army pours out. The entire forest trembles as the vast orc army mobilizes, their war horns echoing across the land. From her hiding spot in the bushes, she gives the signal to advance. He leaps from the high ground in his beast form, carrying her swiftly through the forest. They tear across the open ground, a streak of white and blue against the landscape. Their charge carries them straight towards the imposing gates of the orc fortress. The sudden appearance of the duo startles the orc guards patrolling the fortress walls. Her expression hardens with resolve as she anticipates the coming battle. The ground trembles as they realize the horde of orc riders is closing in from behind. A protective barrier instantly forms around them, deflecting a deadly volley of arrows. He digs his powerful claws into the drawbridge, bringing their high-speed charge to an abrupt halt. Their path forward is blocked as they find themselves trapped on the drawbridge, surrounded by the enemy. With a fierce cry, she unleashes a powerful defensive ability to clear their path. A blinding flash of light erupts from their position, engulfing the entire drawbridge. The concussive force sends the surrounding orcs flying, creating a momentary opening. He instructs her to hold on tight as they break through the enemy line, heading for the center. She braces herself, leaning into the turn as they accelerate with incredible speed. Their charge creates a powerful shockwave, blasting the horde of orcs away from them. He lets out a ferocious howl that stuns the pursuing enemies, buying them precious seconds. She looks back in surprise, realizing the sheer chaos they are leaving in their wake. From above, more orcs leap from the fortress walls, attempting to intercept their advance. He defies gravity by running straight up the wall, kicking the ambushing orcs away. The force of his charge sends her tumbling off the wall along with the stunned orcs. He glances back in alarm, realizing his partner is now in freefall. Despite the danger, she urges him to press on, putting the mission above her own safety. Using the wall as a springboard, she kicks off with incredible agility to change her direction. Her quick thinking pays off as she successfully grabs onto a stone battlement, halting her descent. She pulls herself over the edge, securing her position high on the fortress wall. With a determined leap, she vaults over the parapet and onto the main walkway. She lands silently on the stone path, ready to continue her solo infiltration. Dashing into a corridor, she's immediately confronted by two hulking orc guards blocking her way. Without hesitation, she summons her crackling energy sword, preparing to carve a path through them. He plummets from the sky, a living missile aimed at the orcs below. Meanwhile, she unsheathes her blade, ready to cut down the guards blocking her path. Her partner continues his rampage, scaling another wall with unstoppable momentum. The chaos finally reaches the throne room, where a powerful figure is alerted to the intrusion. Massive hands tighten on the stone throne as the fortress's master senses the disturbance. A flash reveals the horrifying face of the orc lord, his three glowing eyes burning with rage. Seated in his high tower, the monstrous ruler glares down upon his domain, exuding pure menace. With a deliberate motion, the orc lord pushes himself up, deciding to deal with this personally. His heavy, armored boots slam against the stone floor, shaking the very foundations of the spire. The formidable creature strides purposefully towards the balcony, ready to confront the source of the commotion. The Orc Lord steps onto his balcony, a confident smirk on his face as he surveys the chaos. His arrogance turns to confusion as he spots an unexpected blur rocketing towards him. The ruler's third eye narrows, focusing on the rapidly approaching threat. In a flash, the beast form hero appears before him, letting loose a savage roar. He sinks his fangs directly into the Orc Lord's throat, initiating a point-blank assault. Their struggle shatters the balcony, sending them both plummeting from the high tower. Locked in a deadly embrace, the two combatants fall through the open air. The Orc Lord's eye burns with rage, refusing to accept his sudden turn of fortune. His fall ends abruptly as he is impaled on a massive spire, and a system notification confirms his defeat. The force of the impact sends the hero tumbling away. As the Orc Lord's reign comes to a definitive end, the spire crumbles under the Orc Lord's weight, showering the courtyard in stone and debris. The collapsing tower crashes down, scattering the panicked orcs below. A massive explosion rocks the fortress as the entire structure gives way in a fiery blast. The remaining orcs stare in disbelief, unable to comprehend the sudden destruction of their leader's tower. Caught in the blast, she is sent tumbling from the fortress wall along with several stunned guards. The chaos intensifies as bodies and rubble rain down, sending the horde below into a frenzy. Helplessly, she plummets towards the ground, her mission seemingly at an end. As she falls, she closes her eyes, bracing for the inevitable impact. A sense of resignation washes over her as she accepts her apparent fate. Just before she hits the ground, a powerful hand snatches her from the air, halting her deadly descent. She looks up in confusion, her fall unexpectedly halted by her rescuer. Her partner leaps through the air with her in his arms, evading the shocked orcs below. He crashes to the ground, twisting his body to absorb the impact and protect her. Digging his claws into the stone, he skids to a jarring halt amidst the chaos. Still in his arms, she stares in wide-eyed shock at her beast form partner. Once they're stable, she asks about the Orc Lord, and he confirms its demise. He instructs her to hold on tight, preparing for their final escape. With a fierce cry, he dashes forward, carrying her through the scattering enemies. His powerful hands pump furiously as he sprints with everything he has left. He accelerates to an incredible speed, running along the fortress wall to freedom. He confirms the Orc Lord's defeat while they race onward, telling her to locate their escape route. Hurtling through the fortress, she concentrates on scanning the area for the exit. Her enhanced vision quickly identifies an open gate, signaling their chance to escape. She remains in awe, struggling to comprehend how he single-handedly defeated such a powerful boss. Miles away, a DGB mobile command unit sits in the darkness, overseeing the mission. Suddenly, an alarm blares as a monitor for Dungeon 127 shows a rapidly decreasing timer. An agent notices the strange reading on the screen, his face a mask of confusion. His partner looks over, his own expression turning to shock as he recognizes the dungeon's designation. The timer on the screen blurs as it counts down with alarming speed, heightening the tension. Just then, a blinding flash of light erupts from the dungeon gate, drawing everyone's attention. The agents gathered outside the gate stare in utter confusion at the unexpected development. One agent's shock turns to disbelief as he begins to recognize the figures emerging from the light. An official announces that the countdown for the Orc Castle's dungeon break has officially begun. Tears stream down her face as she whispers the name of the person she thought was lost. Outside, the crowd erupts in cheers, celebrating the hero's return with only 10 minutes to spare. Back inside, the beast form hero sprints desperately, with a pack of wolf-riding orcs in hot pursuit. While carrying his partner, he urgently asks if she has located their escape route. Snapped back to reality, she confirms that she has indeed found the exit. As they leap down a wall, dodging a volley of arrows, she shouts the exit's location and their remaining time. He lands with bone-jarring force, sending a pursuing orc rider flying as they clear a path to freedom. He suddenly skids to a halt, his claws digging into the stone as he catches a familiar scent. Abruptly changing course, he dashes away from the exit, much to his partner's confusion. She anxiously questions his new direction, reminding him that their time is almost up. He ignores her plea, charging headfirst towards a pack of hostile wolves. Rather than fighting, he unleashes a powerful ability, intending to tame the beast. His partner watches in utter disbelief, questioning his decision to use a taming skill. A system alert confirms his success as the entire wolf pack is instantly brought under his control. Now the alpha, he commands his new followers to join him as he resumes their escape. With his partner on his back, he leads his newly acquired wolf pack in a desperate sprint. She looks back in astonishment, questioning if he's seriously taking the entire pack with them. He confidently declares the wolf pack is now his family, justifying his reckless decision. Their mad dash is cut short as they run headlong into another group of orc riders blocking the way. She cries out in despair, realizing they are completely surrounded with no apparent escape. Just then, a tiny spirit companion appears, informing the hero of a hidden nearby passage. She looks back in disbelief, questioning this new information as he charges towards a solid wall. Her eyes glow with power as she activates her enhanced vision to scan for the hidden route. Spotting the opening, she urgently directs him to make a sharp right turn, and he immediately obeys. He dives into the narrow crevice, leading his new pack through the secret escape route. The pursuing orcs skid to a halt. Their massive wolf mounts too large to follow into the tight space. The orc commander bellows in frustration, powerless to do anything but watch them slip away. With renewed hope, she urgently points out their final destination. She confirms the glowing archway is the dungeon exit, prompting them to sprint. He lets out a determined roar, signaling the final charge towards the gate. Leading the charge, he and his wolf pack become a blur of motion along the fortress path. Unfortunately, the relentless orc riders emerge from the shadows, resuming their furious pursuit. As they bound through the forest, she screams a warning. They have only 1 minute left. Finally, the shimmering portal to the outside world appears just ahead of them. With the portal crackling violently, she shouts that only 23 seconds remain on the clock. The pursuing orcs close the gap, their mounts thundering right behind the desperate heroes. An orc rider makes a final, desperate attack, launching a spear straight at the hero's back. His partner's eyes widen in terror as she spots the spear hurtling towards them. In a flash, one of the tamed wolves leaps to intercept the deadly projectile. Her expression shifts from fear to utter disbelief at the wolf's selfless act. The force of the impact throws her from the hero's back, sending her flying. She crashes hard onto the ground, tumbling uncontrollably amidst the enemy. The beast hero looks back in shock as his wolf pack reacts to their fallen comrade. She skids across the dirt, the broken spear landing just inches away from her. The pursuing orc riders immediately halt their charge, now surrounding their vulnerable new target. Clutching her side in pain, she struggles to her knees as items spill from her bag. A look of pained resignation crosses her face as she assesses her hopeless situation. Without a moment's hesitation, the beast hero becomes a blur, abandoning the portal to race back for his partner. On her knees and surrounded, she can only watch as the orc riders prepare to deliver the final blow. He digs his claws into the earth, launching himself forward with explosive speed and determination. Seeing him return, she glares with fierce desperation, silently pleading for him to go back. He ignores her completely, his body glowing with power as he charges headfirst into the enemy line. Her expression turns to frantic horror as she realizes he's sacrificing their escape for her. An orc roars triumphantly, raising its weapon to strike down the defenseless woman. But before it can land the blow, a spear from the loyal wolf pack pierces its chest. The beast hero blazes past the falling orc as his new pack leaps into battle to protect him. Another enemy rider is violently thrown from his mount, taken down by the ferocious wolves. The world watches as the dungeon portal's timer ticks down, with only seconds left before it closes. Onlookers, including their loved ones, cry out their names in despair, believing they won't make it. Even the live news crew covering the event begins to lose hope, convinced the heroes are doomed. The broadcast director, however, is more concerned with the skyrocketing ratings, eagerly anticipating a dramatic finale. Inside the dungeon, the hero pivots sharply, his armored claws gouging the earth. With his partner now securely in his arms, he lets out a defiant roar and bolts towards the exit. She gazes at him with resigned despair, knowing his heroic act has likely cost them the 4 seconds they needed. Ignoring her despair, his eyes blaze with fierce resolve as he silently urges her to hold on. Touched by his resolve, a single tear traces a path down her cheek as she puts her faith in him. As a final orc swings its massive cleaver, another loyal wolf leaps in to take the devastating blow. The loyal wolf is sent flying by the sheer force of the devastating blow. Undeterred, the hero digs his claws into the dirt, preparing for a final, desperate lunge. He narrowly evades the attack as the orc's weapon shatters the ground where he just stood. At that exact moment, the dungeon timer officially hits 0, sealing their fate. The crowd outside gasps in collective horror, realizing the heroes have failed. Inside the dungeon, the portal crackles violently as it begins to collapse in on itself. The remaining orcs turn their attention back to the heroes, a menacing look on their faces. With the exit gone, the riders prepare to overwhelm their trapped and outnumbered prey. But a brilliant light suddenly erupts from the hero's partner, engulfing the battlefield. The light culminates in a massive explosion that erupts from the dungeon's entrance. The resulting shockwave blasts the surrounding orcs away, clearing a path through the chaos. A searing beam of light then disintegrates another orc, leaving nothing behind. Outside, the hopeful nation watches in silence as the countdown ends with no sign of the heroes. Confusion and despair ripple through the crowd as they question the hunter's fate. One onlooker's expression suddenly shifts from shock to utter bewilderment. The collapsed portal unexpectedly crackles with renewed energy, sparking back to life. A powerful red wolf with glowing eyes bursts through the unstable rift first. The crowd is stunned as the rest of the loyal wolf pack begins to emerge from the portal. An entire legion of wolves now charges into the outside world, a truly unexpected sight. Onlookers can only stare in wide-eyed disbelief at the impossible scene unfolding before them. Following the wolves, the hero's partner is launched from the portal, soaring over the stunned crowd. Seconds later, the hero himself makes a thunderous landing, shattering the ground upon impact. The bewildered crowd struggles to comprehend what they just witnessed, with some believing they saw a person fly by. An official immediately orders his team to rush towards the impact site and investigate the commotion. As the dust begins to settle, the first responders realize with shock that people have emerged from the chaos. The rescue team freezes in place, their faces etched with disbelief at what they find in the crater. There, amidst the rubble, they find the hero cradling his partner, shielding her from the fall. The responders officially identify the two figures as the very hunters everyone had presumed lost. The realization that the heroes are alive and have returned sends a wave of euphoric cheers through the crowd. As the celebration erupts, the loyal wolf pack lets out a triumphant howl under the full moon. Medics rush to the scene as news outlets declare the hunter's survival a miracle. After 4 days trapped inside, a photo from the scene shows the hero still cradling his partner protectively amidst the crater's rubble. During a high-level briefing, officials question the peculiar position the two were discovered in. The internet is already flooded with wild speculation and sensational headlines about the hero's true identity. An official scoffs at the news, dismissing the articles as nothing more than clickbait to stir up drama. His colleague gives him a pointed look, suggesting the information was intentionally leaked from their side. The man quickly deflects, urging the room to focus on countermeasures rather than pointing fingers. The presentation reveals that the hero's newfound fame has attracted intelligence agents from numerous countries. He grits his teeth in frustration, angered by the arrival of these opportunistic foreign recruiters. Among the new arrivals is a notorious KGB agent from Russia, indicating the gravity of the situation. An agent from Israel's Mossad, Eli Gorenstein, is also confirmed to have arrived. The presentation then identifies Nakamura Kauji, the vice president of Tokyo's Returning Association. The official erupts in fury, recognizing Nakamura as a troublesome rival from the past. His colleague reminds him that Nakamura previously poached another top-tier hunter, but she believes America poses the greatest threat. The group debates how to secure the hero's loyalty, wondering if a contract is a strong enough incentive. A bald official confidently suggests that the hero's family is the key to keeping him in the country. The first man is baffled, unable to comprehend that someone would prioritize family over wealth. A flashback reveals the hero spent a millennium with his wolf pack, all while longing for his human family. The officials realize that upon returning to Earth, he now also misses his wolf family, making him a complicated individual. The bald man concludes that the hero's core desire is simple: to be with those he considers family. The bald official proposes a simple solution: give the hero a private domain for his family, to ensure his loyalty. His colleague agrees, but worries about foreign agents, prompting a new plan involving a deserted lodge. An agent points to an isolated property on a digital map, a perfect location for the hero's new base. The official listens intently, considering the strategic value of the proposed location. The plan is to gift the land to the hero's guild, creating a restricted, safe zone far from the city. Satisfied with the location, the official inquires if Agent Suyong will remain assigned to monitor the hero. Her superior confirms she is the best for the job before asking about her current condition. Agent Suyong reports that she is recovering from her ordeal inside the dungeon. The official smirks, eager to read her highly anticipated report on the hero. The report's title flashes across the screen, bluntly labeling the hero as the dog-like man. Agent Suyong confidently presents her report, defining the hero with the simple, yet fitting, title of dog-like man. The entire briefing room is rendered speechless by her incredibly blunt and unusual assessment. With a grim expression, the lead official composes himself and orders her to begin the full report. The scene suddenly shifts to a massive stadium, where the roar of the crowd announces a major global event. An announcer hypes up the audience, welcoming them to the world's greatest combat tournament. The crowd erupts into a thunderous cheer, their energy palpable throughout the arena. A dark silhouette of a long-haired fighter appears, introduced as the legendary champion, Hero. The entire stadium chants his name in unison, their voices echoing with adoration for their hero. Under the bright stage lights, the announcer prepares to make the grand introduction. He gestures to the screen, officially presenting the silhouette of the world's #1 ranked fighter. The announcer boasts of the champion's incredible record, 21 title defenses, and 45 undefeated matches. He is praised as the strongest primate in history and a symbol of hope for all of humanity. The fighter is officially introduced as an SS-grade irregular and Japan's ultimate weapon, the Dark Swordsman. A shadowy figure makes a dramatic entrance, stepping out from a brightly lit gateway onto the stage. The legendary champion, Hiro Okita, is revealed, a sinister dark energy swirling around his hands. The crowd erupts in a frenzy, their ecstatic cheers filling the entire stadium. A close-up shows the ominous dark aura intensifying and swirling around the champion. As if feeding on the crowd's energy, Hiro's twin swords become wreathed in crackling obsidian flames. Yet, among the cheering masses, one woman stands perfectly still with her arms crossed, unimpressed. A close-up reveals her calm and serious expression, observing the champion with a focused gaze. The announcer declares that Hiro has taken to the air, soaring above the arena with his dark power. He descends like a shadowy meteor, his dark aura expanding as the crowd's excitement reaches a fever pitch. Spectators are in awe, wondering if he'll end the fight with his energy alone. Despite facing a formidable opponent, the champion touches down with explosive force, shattering the arena floor beneath his feet. With an air of absolute confidence, Hiro surveys the stadium as broadcast drones circle above him. From his opponent's perspective, Hiro stands on the ruined field, his infamous phoenix flame marking his territory. The announcer dramatically shifts the focus, preparing to introduce the challenger to the roaring crowd. The Jumbotron introduces the challenger, Mikhail Jorvas, an undefeated S-grade weapon ranked 32nd in the world. A massive silhouette emerges from another gateway, introduced as the fearsome brown bear of Russia. With a final, booming announcement, the announcer presents the challenger, Mikhail Jorvas, to the world. The challenger, Mikhail Jorvas, launches himself from the gateway into the arena. A savage grin spreads across his face, his eyes locked on his target with predatory focus. He lands with the force of a meteor, cracking the stadium floor and announcing his arrival. Wasting no time, the Russian powerhouse charges head-on towards the seemingly unfazed champion. Mikhail's expression hardens with conviction, certain he will be the one to end Hiro's winning streak. He unleashes a ferocious, energy-charged punch, aiming to overwhelm the champion with brute force. Hiro calmly turns his head, his expression betraying no concern for the devastating attack. The challenger's fist collides with the ground, sending shockwaves and debris flying everywhere. Hiro is blown back by the sheer power of the impact, narrowly avoiding the direct hit. Frustrated by the dodge, Mikhail clenches his jaw, angered by the champion's evasive maneuver. Jorvas retaliates, unleashing a relentless spray from his mana-powered Gatling arm. The champion moves like a blur, the energy rounds harmlessly deflecting off his protective aura. Seeing his Gatling gun fail, Jorvas quickly switches tactics, aiming a massive bazooka at his target. He fires a devastating explosive round, engulfing the area in a massive blast. But Hiro is already in motion, leaping through the cloud of debris with his dark energy swirling around him. The challenger looks on in disbelief as the champion emerges from the smoke to launch a counterattack. Hiro's shadowy sword energy relentlessly strikes Jorvas, forcing him onto the defensive. Pushback, Jorvas fires his Gatling gun once more, trying to create some distance. The Dark Swordsman closes the gap instantly, but Jorvas manages to block the powerful sword strike with his gauntlet. The force of the blow is immense, sending cracked spider webbing across the challenger's armored gauntlet. Jorvas's eyes widen in disbelief, realizing the immense gap in their power. The champion unleashes a swift sword strike, forcing a pain cry from the challenger. In a desperate move, Jorvas activates a powerful rocket booster built into his arm. He uses the propulsion to spin violently, attempting to throw the champion off balance. But Hiro lands with perfect balance, easily countering the challenger's reckless maneuver. The Dark Swordsman pivots instantly, preparing for his next devastating assault. He delivers a precise slash, cutting across Jorvas's torso with fluid grace. The champion becomes a blur of motion, overwhelming the Russian with a flurry of shadowy attacks. Jorvas reveals a hidden weapon, launching a heavy chain flail at his opponent. With startling ease, Hiro catches the chain midair, effortlessly halting the surprise attack. Jorvas grins maniacally, believing his trap has finally ensnared the champion. He reveals a hidden grinder in his arm, roaring as he prepares to sacrifice his own body for a final, desperate attack. Unfazed, Hiro identifies the challenger's ultimate technique and calmly declares the fight is over. Suddenly, Jorvas's expression twists from confidence to pure agony as his attack backfires spectacularly. Dark, shadowy tendrils erupt from within, overwhelming the challenger from the inside out. With a flick of his wrist, Hiro snaps the chain, using Jorvas's own weapon to deliver a devastating final blow. The spectators can only stare in stunned silence, their minds struggling to process the swift and brutal conclusion. The Russian powerhouse is sent flying, crashing against the Reno wall in a decisive defeat. The announcer erupts with excitement, confirming for the roaring crowd that the challenger has been taken down. As the referee officially stops the match, medical personnel rush onto the field to attend to the fallen Jorbas. The medical team's efforts are futile. The referee declares Jorbas' condition irreversible. The stadium's jumbotron officially proclaims Hero as the undisputed winner, with his arm raised in victory. The announcer celebrates Hero's 22nd successful title defense. Backstage, Hero leads his mysterious, cloaked followers away from the roaring arena. His team questions his new technique, and he casually explains how he detonated his energy from within Jorbas. The champion calmly congratulates his crew, suggesting a celebratory drink as if nothing happened. He quietly enters a private room, leaving the chaos of his victory behind him. A concerned woman immediately greets him with a tight embrace, her relief palpable. She looks up at him with worried eyes, questioning the finality of his actions against Jorbas. Hero reveals a startling truth. Jorbas was a candidate to become one of the infamous 7 deadly sins. She comforts the champion, reminding him he doesn't have to bear his burdens alone. Stepping away, Hero immediately gets back to business, asking his companion for any updates. She informs him of a call from the control department, prompting him to ask if it was the chief. With a simple confirmation, she relays the chief's concern before they head off to a meeting. They enter a private lounge where a large screen displays a news report about his recent victory. She suddenly recalls a critical piece of news about a man who miraculously survived a level 5 dungeon in Korea. The champion's interest is visibly piqued by this unexpected development. She explains the survivor is being hailed as a new hero, even catching the eye of the defense department. A faint, curious smile plays on Hero's lips as he asks for the man's name. She identifies the survivor as Suho Park, showing Hero the news articles she saved on her phone. The phone screen highlights the face of Suho Park, an irregular who miraculously returned from a level 5 dungeon. Hero feigns ignorance, claiming the name Suho Park is completely unfamiliar to him. His companion seems surprised by his lack of recognition, but the champion maintains his facade. Yet, in his mind, Hero recalls a prophecy about an awakened swordsman who has appeared a year ahead of schedule. She corrects him, revealing the survivor is a druid, which could mean a 4th planet is now connected to Earth. The champion's expression grows serious as he contemplates this unexpected turn of events. His companion points out the most incredible fact: the supposed hero is only an F rank. A subtle, knowing grin spreads across the champion's face, betraying his hidden knowledge. He turns to his companion with a grave expression, dismissing the possibility of not knowing him. A cosmic vision reveals the truth. He has relived over 500 years of time, across 25 different regressions. He recalls that his regressions grant him knowledge of every major event and future influential figure. Yet, across all his timelines, the name Suho Park has remained completely unknown. The champion muses that while he can alter fates like Jorbas' or Kiko's, there are limits to his influence. He knows that cosmic certainties, like the appearance of a new planet, shouldn't have changed. Yet this one is 5 years early. His companion suggests a proactive approach, proposing they recruit this mysterious survivor. Hero pauses, lost in thought as he considers the unexpected proposal. He finally voices his uncertainty, unsure if bringing in such an unknown element is wise. She counters his hesitation, emphasizing that Suho Park is currently the most talked about person in Korea. The champion makes a decision, opting to investigate this anomaly further before making a move. In a dark and unknown location, a monstrous clawed hand smashes violently into the ground. Hero's mind flashes forward to a horrifying vision of the apocalypse, where monstrous creatures lay waste to civilization. He foresees humanity's last strongholds falling one by one as these abominations swarm. From dungeon breaks, the vision expands, revealing winged beasts emerging from countless portals to dominate the skies. Both land and air are completely lost as monsters descend upon the earth, forcing humanity into a desperate flight. Pushed to the brink of extinction, the last survivors begin a chaotic and desperate mass evacuation. In the ensuing panic, civility crumbles as people turn on each other just to stay alive. Yet, from the ashes of this unending war, new heroes will rise to defend the last remnants of humanity. The champion's foresight reveals that this final sanctuary for all of Asia will be the island nation of Japan. This is the true reason he endures being called a traitor, as he secretly builds his foundation there. His ultimate goal is to conquer Japan's dungeons, transforming the island into the safest place on Earth for the future. In his vision, desperate refugees on small boats finally reach the shores of Japan, their last hope for survival. Looking up, the survivors are stunned to see Sianu Lee standing on the cliffs with his followers. A wave of relief washes over the crowd as they cheer, believing they have finally been saved. He foresees a future where his fellow Koreans will no longer call him a traitor, but will chant his name as a hero. The champion smirks, relishing the future title he has meticulously planned for himself. Snapping back to reality, Hiro tells his companion that the whole Suho Park situation feels like an orchestrated show. She questions his skepticism, and he bluntly calls the miraculous survival story a complete scam. His companion tries to reason with him, emphasizing that Suho Park is a person of great interest to the Defense Department. Hiro confidently decides to wait, suggesting they'll recruit Suho only if he manages to survive the coming apocalypse. The scene then shifts to Simsung Hospital, where the mysterious survivor is currently staying. A woman in a business suit enters the hospital room of a bandaged patient. The visitor inquires about the patient's condition, who admits she is still in pain. Unconcerned, the visitor makes herself comfortable at the foot of the bed. She dismisses the patient's complaints, remarking that she looks perfectly fine. The visitor then confronts her with rumors of nightly excursions with a masked man, suspecting it's Suho Park. The patient ignores the accusation, tapping on the romance novel she's reading instead. She changes the topic entirely, asking if her friend brought the items she requested. Her friend pulls out a bag of food, grumbling about all the favors she does for the lucky patient. She places a bucket of fried chicken and a can of dark beer on the bedside table. The patient immediately complains about the brand of beer, but her friend casually brushes off the mistake. The patient's complaints escalate, as she specifically requested a different brand of chicken. Her friend's patience wears thin, her expression turning stony at the ungratefulness. Her hand glows with a threatening aura, delivering a non-negotiable order to eat the food. The patient sullenly gives in, realizing she has no choice in the matter. Moments later, the entire meal is gone, with only an empty bucket and a crushed can as evidence. Despite her earlier complaints, she collapses back onto the bed, fully satisfied with the meal. With the meal finished, her friend Soo-young declares that there's no rest and it's time to get to work. Attempting to dodge her responsibilities, the patient asks for a quick nap and promptly pretends to snore. Unimpressed by the act, Soo-young's expression turns menacing as she once again channels a crackling energy. The room is filled with a brilliant flash of light, and the patient, Miso, yelps from the forceful wake-up call. The story shifts across the world to a government facility in Langley, Virginia. Inside, officials are monitoring the news of Hiro's decisive victory over Jorbas. A senior officer expresses his shock, finding it hard to believe Jorbas could be defeated so easily. His colleague notes that at this rate, Hiro is on track to become a legendary triple S grade hunter. The conversation then pivots to another person of interest, as they notice Suho Park has gone missing. An agent clarifies that Suho hasn't disappeared, presenting surveillance photos from their team in Korea. The senior official examines the photos with a deep, suspicious frown. He questions Suho's presence at Seoul Station, surrounded by a large crowd of people. His subordinate explains that Suho is often seen there, prompting a cynical question about his motives. The agent speculates that Suho looks heartbroken, while his boss sarcastically wonders if he's talking to pigeons. The official scoffs at Suho's behavior, believing he could have offered him a much better life. He stares intently at his subordinate, stressing the absolute necessity of securing Suho for their agency. His agent confirms a specialized team is already en route to Korea to handle the recruitment. The senior officer senses a problem in the agent's tone and demands to know the catch. The agent nervously admits that their team's flight is experiencing some unusual interference. Intrigued and annoyed, the official presses for a clear explanation of these peculiarities. The scene cuts to an airplane soaring peacefully through the sky on its way to Korea. Inside, the cabin is filled with unsuspecting passengers, including the American agents. A mother is distracted from her reading when her young daughter points excitedly out the window. The little girl innocently tells her mom about a cute bird flying alongside their plane. The mother humors her daughter, turning to the window to see the so-called bird. Her smile quickly fades into a look of disbelief and growing dread. Her eyes widen in sheer terror at the impossible sight outside the window. A massive, monstrous jaw suddenly scrapes against the top of the airplane's fuselage. A small red, dragon-like creature flaps aggressively against the side of the plane's engine. The creature screeches, its claws tearing into the aircraft's metal skin. After causing some damage, the tiny beast flies alongside the plane, undeterred. Inside, the other passengers are now buzzing with excitement, filming the strange-looking creature. The American agents watch with concern, one wondering why the creature seems to be following them. An agent identifies it as a baby wyvern, trying to dismiss it as harmless. The agent questions the sudden appearance of a wyvern so high in the sky. His colleague theorizes it escaped from a dungeon, planning to file a report after they land. The first agent freezes, a terrible thought striking him about the creature's origin. His eye twitches as he realizes the horrifying truth. If the baby escaped, its mother must be nearby. Just then, a colossal adult wyvern emerges from the clouds, dwarfing the entire aircraft. The monstrous beast opens its maw, a blinding light signaling a catastrophic attack. It unleashes a torrent of fire, incinerating the plane's wing and engine in an instant. In the cockpit, the pilots send a desperate mayday call as the plane is torn apart by unknown flying objects. The massive wyvern lets out a victorious roar, having successfully downed its target. The aircraft erupts into a fiery explosion, sealing the fate of everyone on board. The massive wyvern soars away from the fiery explosion, its job seemingly done. Its smaller offspring screeches, flying clear of the burning debris that was once an airplane. The adult beast flaps its powerful wings, cruising calmly through the sky. It lets out a triumphant roar, its sharp teeth and reptilian eyes on full display. With a final surge of speed, the creature disappears, leaving only chaos behind. A news alert breaks, revealing a pack of wyverns has escaped a dungeon and is now terrorizing the skies over Siberia. The scene shifts to the truck speeding through a remote, dusty landscape. The vehicles rattle violently on the uneven terrain, emphasizing their isolated journey. Inside, the driver confidently announces they're nearing their goal. Much to his passengers' confusion, he gazes intently forward, having spotted their mysterious destination in the distance. The driver's eyes widen in sheer disbelief as he stares at their final destination. His passengers lean forward, completely bewildered by his sudden talk of a haunted house. He points toward a dilapidated two-story mansion emerging from the dusty landscape. The house stands in eerie silence, overgrown with vines and circled by ominous crows. After parking, the team gets out and stares up at their new office, appalled by its creepy appearance. One member worries about practicalities like internet, while another is already spooked by a supposed ghost. They reluctantly approach the collapsing structure, questioning how they're meant to live there. A blonde woman named Misa spins around, her face a mask of furious protest. She vehemently refuses to stay in such a place, only to be calmly shushed by her colleague. The dark-haired woman cheerfully acknowledges the team's shock, as Suho watches her with a puzzled expression. The woman calmly informs them that renovations will begin tomorrow, to make the dilapidated mansion habitable. Suho, however, shocks everyone by declaring he likes the creepy house and is ready to move in right away. His blonde colleague pinches his arm, silently questioning if he's lost his mind, while the other woman watches, amused. The dark-haired woman shoves her protesting teammate aside, praising Suho's unique taste and asking if he'll set up his territory. Confused by the term, Suho learns he can designate all the areas that will fall under his management. As he considers this new power, a brilliant blue aura begins to emanate from his hand. An incredible surge of energy suddenly burst forth, lifting Suho into the air. He channels the power, sending glowing orbs of light towards his bewildered team. The two women stare in awe, one identifying the mysterious lights as a tree spirit. Suho becomes the center of a swirling vortex of spiritual energy, unleashing his true capabilities. The team can only stare in utter disbelief at the incredible display of power. A wave of spiritual energy and tiny fairies erupts outwards, covering the desolate landscape. As one agent questions the spectacle, his colleague reminds him this is just Suho following orders to set his territory. The dark-haired woman slowly processes the true scale of what she just asked him to do. The swirling tree spirits dive towards the ground, carrying with them the essence of life. Where the spirits touch the earth, tiny green saplings instantly sprout from the barren soil. In a flash of light, the small sprouts shoot upwards, rapidly growing into young trees. The accelerated growth continues, transforming the dusty plains into a vibrant, glowing forest. The trees surge skyward, their massive trunks forming an impenetrable, living barrier. The other team members watch in awe as a giant wall of trees materializes before their very eyes. The newly formed forest surges with magical energy, as the tree spirits settle among the massive canopies. From above, the team marvels at the sheer scale of the new forest, which now serves as an immense natural barrier. Suho stands confidently amidst the lingering magic, announcing that his task is complete. He calmly decides that a territory extending a mile around the house will be sufficient for their needs. The dark-haired woman forces a smile, nervously agreeing to the enormous scale of his claim. She takes a step forward, officially declaring the entire area as the property of the newly formed Suho Guild. The woman explains that this generous territory is his reward for taking on this long-term assignment. She adds that the RCD now considers him a valued member of their family. Though her blonde colleague seems unconvinced, Suho accepts her words with a knowing smile, pleased with the new arrangement. To finalize the deal, she presents him with a contract, which he readily agrees to sign. The blonde agent desperately urges Suho to read the contract thoroughly before signing. Her colleague shoves her aside, impatiently pointing to the signature line on the contract. After Suho signs, the woman hands him his copy, finalizing their agreement. She shakes his hand, asking him to hold out until the portal finally opens. Suho confidently assures her that he is a man of his word. In return, she promises that the government will not let him down. As the RCD team departs, the blonde agent shouts a final warning about renovating the house. Soo-young glares back from the truck, while her colleague makes a defiant face. The vehicle speeds away, leaving a cloud of dust and the new guild behind. Inside the truck, Soo-young sighs in exasperation, questioning her teammates' maturity. The driver expresses doubt that Suho's small team can handle such a massive territory. His colleague reveals this is part of her plan, as their weakness will create an opening for her own team. She then issues a command to assemble a high-level squad, preparing to make her move. Meanwhile, far out at sea, a massive cargo ship sails under a clear blue sky. Suddenly, a fleet of smaller boats filled with raucous pirates closes in on the vessel. A pirate leader gleefully prepares his heavy machine gun, ordering his crew to open fire. The pirate boats unleash a barrage of gunfire as they speed across the waves. Their relentless assault targets the enormous, seemingly defenseless container ship. On the bridge, a terrified crewman sends a frantic distress signal, pleading for rescue from the pirate attack. A naval command center immediately locks onto the ship's location, confirming a response is underway. Naval command confirms rescue is nearly 3 hours out, instructing the crew to stall for as long as possible. Undeterred, the pirates throw a grappling ladder onto the hull and begin to swarm the massive vessel. A terrified crewman reports from the bridge that the pirates have breached the deck and are still climbing aboard. The captain orders a full engine shutdown and tells all crew to retreat to the safety of the engine room. As the crew scrambles in panic, a sudden, violent jolt rocks the entire bridge. One of the officers looks up in complete confusion, trying to process the unexpected tremor. His confusion turns to sheer terror as he stares out the window at the chaos unfolding outside. In a shocking turn, one of the pirate boats is suddenly launched into the air, sending its occupants flying. The crewman's eyes widen in absolute disbelief, unable to comprehend the impossible sight before him. A monstrous purple tentacle erupts from the depths, revealing the unexpected source of the commotion. The officer's eyes tremble in pure horror at the impossible sight. More massive tentacles erupt from the sea, wrapping around the cargo ship with crushing force. The violent impact sends the bridge crew flying, tossing them around the cabin like dolls. The colossal creature lifts the entire vessel from the water, revealing its immense power. One of the crew members is flung overboard, plummeting towards the dark, churning ocean below. He surfaces, dazed and disoriented, trying to make sense of the unfolding nightmare. Suddenly, a sharp, agonizing sensation grips him from below, his face contorting in silent agony. A monstrous sea beast with rows of razor-sharp teeth emerges from the depths, its maw wide open. The helpless man falls directly into the creature's gaping mouth. With a powerful snap of its jaws, the beast swallows its victim whole before diving back into the abyss. A grotesque, tentacled shark swims through the debris-filled water after consuming its prey. An entire swarm of these monstrous sharks emerges from the depths, causing the ocean to tremble. The pack of predators with glowing eyes and razor-sharp teeth snarls in anticipation of their next meal. Far above, the naval rescue team finally arrives, their warship and helicopters cutting through the waves. The rescuers scan the empty ocean, finding no trace of the freighter at its last known coordinates. Unseen by the crew, the colossal tentacles from the deep begin to stir directly beneath their vessel. In a terrifying repeat of the previous attack, the monstrous appendages surge from the water to claim another ship. The scene shifts dramatically to the tranquil, sun-drenched forest created by Suho. Tiny, glowing tree spirits with leaf-like wings gracefully fly through the magical air. The spirits gather, swirling in a vortex of energy around the base of a colossal, ancient tree. The magical melody of the forest drifts over Suho's newly acquired mansion. A closer view reveals the impressive scale of the vine-covered estate. Inside, the peaceful morning is interrupted by the sound of a ringing phone. The call is from a contact ominously labeled witch, buzzing next to a sleeping Soo-young. Soo-young lies fast asleep in one of the mansion's rooms, oblivious to the persistent ringing. Still groggy, she clumsily reaches for the phone to silence the noise. She tiredly answers the call, her eyes still closed in slumber. On the other end, her colleague smirks from her office, sarcastically asking about Soo-young's leisurely life. Soo-young defensively insists that she is, in fact, on the job. Her colleague's expression turns sharp, questioning if Soo-young is actually with Suho. Soo-young groggily evades her colleague's question, feigning ignorance. Her boss explodes with rage, berating Soo-young for her unprofessionalism. The call ends abruptly, leaving the colleague fuming at Soo-young's insolence. Meanwhile, Soo-young calmly prepares a fresh cup of coffee. She steps out onto the balcony, tying up her hair as she gazes at the colossal tree. Holding her warm mug, she takes a moment to appreciate the morning view. She sips her coffee, wryly noting the immense scale of Sua's overnight work. The camera pans up the ancient tree, its branches shimmering with countless points of light. Deep within the forest, a pack of spectral wolves races through the undergrowth. Suho watches them pass, silently observing the ecosystem he has brought to life. Suho pulls up a status window, revealing his wolves have been comically named Stir-Fry, Sausage, and Porky. He promptly renames one of the wolves, settling on the much more dignified Rice Cake. The wolf's news status screen displays a concerning warning about a potential loss of reason. He thoughtfully considers the risk, realizing he must limit how much he levels up his new companions. His solitary observation is interrupted by the soft sound of footsteps approaching on the grass. Soo-young casually approaches from behind, asking what he's doing, to which he calmly greets the sleepyhead. Suho explains he was naming his family, gesturing towards the spectral wolves as Soo-young questions his choice of words. With a tired yawn, she chides him for not waking her and questions why he's out here all alone. Just then, the adorable white wolf cub, Beku, comes bounding enthusiastically toward them. She kneels to greet the energetic cub, noting its impressive growth and asking where the rest of its pack is. Suho casually explains the rest of the pack is already making their rounds in the dungeon. Soo-young remarks on their dedication, working so hard under the hot sun. He then invites her on a walk to cool down, gesturing towards his shimmering forest. She questions his idea of a simple walk as a sudden breeze sweeps past her. In a flash of magical energy, Suho's hand morphs into a monstrous, clawed paw. Now a towering werewolf, he crouches down and invites her to climb onto his back. Soo-young playfully grabs a handful of his fur, asking if his landscaping work is finished. She confidently mounts him, ready for the tour he promised to show her. With a knowing smirk, she realizes he was just eager to show off his handiwork. The werewolf sign arrows with focus, silently telling her to brace herself for the ride. With a powerful leap, the werewolf launches them forward, kicking up a trail of green energy. They soar through the air, Soo-young holding on tight as they fly over the treetops. Her eyes widen in shock, completely unprepared for the sheer velocity of their takeoff. As they race across the plains, she desperately pleads with him to slow down. The ride gets so wild that she slips, losing a shoe as the wolf pack joyfully keeps pace. The scene cuts to a group of frustrated reporters camped at the edge of the foreboding forest. They complain about the heat and lack of news, standing right next to a "Beware of Wolves" sign. One reporter vents his frustration, unable to find any leads for his boss for over a month. A colleague naively asks if anyone has dared to venture beyond the forest edge. He's quickly shut down, reminded of the military police cameras and the deadly wolves guarding the perimeter. The reporters deduce the military is also present to block foreign recruiters from poaching Suho. Their conversation is cut short as a black truck suddenly bursts from the tree line. They recognize it as a Suho clan vehicle, but confirm Suho himself isn't driving. The truck speeds past the press, kicking up dust as it leaves the restricted zone. An aerial shot follows the vehicle as it drives away from the enchanted forest. Inside, two men from Dongsu TV comment on the feudal reporters and their channel's new focus on Suho. A glance at their laptop reveals a video of Suho with millions of views and a fiery comment section. The passenger's jaw drops in shock, startling the driver who asked what's wrong. He quickly composes himself, brushing off the question with a nervous smile. A bead of sweat rolls down his face as he stares at his screen, deeply troubled by what he saw. The passenger stares in disbelief at the screen, revealing donations have surpassed 4 billion won. He suspects the money is from foreign recruiters and contemplates whether he should tell Suho. Their conversation is cut short as Suho, in his werewolf form with Soo-young, sprints past their vehicle. The monstrous wolf dashes across the plains with incredible force and agility. Soo-young, now enjoying the ride, confidently waves as they speed along. The passenger excitedly waves back, confusing the driver by calling her family. Soo-young clenches her fist with a determined expression upon seeing the familiar truck. The man cheekily explains that since she lives with Suho, she's part of the family now. He then grumbles about the unfairness of Suho never giving them such an exhilarating ride. Suho effortlessly outpaces their truck, demonstrating his astonishing speed. The passenger from Dongsu TV eagerly urges his driver to accelerate, accepting the challenge. The driver shifts the truck into sport mode, ready to push the vehicle to its limits. He slams his foot on the gas pedal, determined to keep up with the supernatural beast. The truck surges forward, kicking up dirt as it races alongside the sprinting werewolf. Soo-young playfully turns their run into a race to the house, with the loser buying dinner. Suddenly, Soo-young's joyful expression vanishes as a strange sound catches her attention. She urgently calls out to Suho, sensing that something is terribly wrong. Suho confirms he also felt the unusual disturbance as they continue their high-speed dash. Her eyes glow with power as she uses her perception skill, pinpointing a dimensional fissure nearby. A somber flashback reveals Suho standing vigil over his mother's hospital bed. In the flashback, his mother weakly asked about the world he was trapped in. Suho somberly reveals he was in the kingdom of animals. She questions the nature of this kingdom, wondering if it was just a world of beasts. He reminisces about the hostile land, where every creature had an energy rating over 700. His mother's eyes widen in terror at the thought of such overwhelmingly powerful beings. The memory reveals a savage world of endless conflict, where only year-ranked beasts could lead a pack. Even after claiming the throne, Suho had to defend his title for centuries against constant challengers.
Hello everyone, subscribe to my channel to not miss new trending manhwa.